Life doesn't send a warning letter. There's no ominous music that swells right before everything collapses. You're moving through a normal Tuesday, and then a single sentence, a misdiagnosis, an envelope with official-looking stamps, and the floor vanishes. You're now standing in the wreckage of a life you didn't design, and in that moment, the mind usually offers two escape routes: total emotional collapse or a stiff upper lip so rigid that you shatter internally while nodding politely on the outside. Both are completely understandable. Both are human, but neither is particularly useful if you actually want to survive intact. There is, however, a third path. It's over 2 millennia old, and it wasn't crafted by life coaches with perfect teeth. It was forged by people who knew real hardship, generals who lost legions, statesmen exiled to die, human beings held in chains. They called themselves Stoics, and they left behind a psychological toolkit so durable that we're still using it today. So if you're currently navigating the aftermath of an impact, if you're still blinking away the dust, listen closely. These 4 principles won't erase the pain, but they will give you a floor when the bottom drops out. The first move is counterintuitive. You have to feel it without feeding it. There's a popular misunderstanding of Stoicism that portrays its followers as emotionless statues. That's a cartoon version of the truth. Marcus Aurelius, who spent 16 years battling war and plague, didn't teach numbness. Epictetus, who started life as a slave, didn't preach indifference. What they actually taught was a surgical separation, the event, and then your story about the event. Feeling grief is honesty. Living inside grief permanently is a choice. One is the rain that passes through, the other is building a house in the floodplain. Epictetus said that it's not the thing itself that disturbs us, but our interpretation of the thing, which sounds like a semantic trick until you really sit with it. The job loss already happened, the betrayal already cut, the diagnosis already arrived. That raw data cannot be undone. But the narration, the internal monologue that whispers, "This proves you're finished. This means the universe hates you. You'll never recover." That narration is being drafted in real time, and you hold the pen, so allow the emotion to visit. Let it sit with you. But the moment you notice yourself building a permanent residence there, rewriting your entire future based on this one moment, that's when you gently, firmly take the pen back. The second principle is to shrink your world down to a single day. Crisis has a dark magic. It projects your current pain onto every future horizon. Your brain, trying to protect you, starts running simulations. If today is this bad, imagine next month, imagine next year, imagine the next decade. And suddenly you aren't just handling Tuesday. You're handling every Tuesday you'll ever have, all stacked on top of you. That weight would crush anyone. Marcus Aurelius wrote something deceptively simple: confine yourself to the present, not next week, not even tomorrow, just the present. What does this hour require from you? What is the single step you can take right now, not the entire staircase? Because here's what the Stoics understood: the human spirit can endure almost anything if you break it into fragments small enough to swallow. It's the totality, the imagined mountain of all future suffering, that breaks us. So stop carrying the weight of a future that hasn't arrived. You are only obligated to survive today. Third, ask yourself the question that separates slaves from free men: what is actually mine to control? This is the core gear of the entire Stoic engine, and once you start using it, you can't unsee its power. When pain arrives, we pour our energy into the wrong column. We obsess over the apology we'll never get. We rage at the injustice we can't reverse. We exhaust ourselves trying to rewrite history or control what others think. Every second spent there is stolen from the only territory where your effort matters. What can you actually control right now? Your next breath, the next choice you make, the values you refuse to violate, even when chaos is screaming at you, the small, almost invisible decisions that quietly rebuild your foundation. And what can't you control? Almost everything external. The Stoics weren't pointing this out to make you feel powerless. They were pointing it out to set you free. Because when you stop punching the unchangeable, you suddenly have both hands free to build something new. Epictetus, while still legally a slave, understood that his inner fortress was his own. No master could enter without his permission. That's not helplessness, that's ultimate sovereignty. The fourth thing is the one most people abandon because it feels like a luxury they can't afford: return to your purpose. In survival mode, purpose seems like something you add later, after the chaos settles. But the Stoics saw it as the anchor that keeps the ship from drifting onto the rocks in the first place. There will come a moment, and you'll recognize it, when the immediate bleeding has stopped, and you need something to walk toward, not just something to run from. The Stoics called this living according to nature. living in alignment with your highest self. It sounds abstract until you strip it down. What do you actually value? Not what Instagram told you to value, not what looks impressive on a resume. What genuinely matters to you when all the decorations are burned away. Hardship has a brutal clarity to it. It strips the wallpaper off the room and shows you the structure underneath. Sometimes the greatest gift a difficult season gives you is a more honest version of yourself, one closer to the bone, stripped of pretense, clear about what you're actually here to do. Marcus Aurelius didn't write his meditations for an audience. He wrote them as daily reminders, anchors for a mind constantly battered by war, plague, and betrayal. He returned to his purpose not because it was easy, but because without it, everything else drifts. So those are the four. Feel it without feeding it. Shrink your world down to today. Ask the honest question about control and find your way back to your purpose. None of this is a magic trick. Anyone promising a 5-step cure for profound pain is selling something. What Stoicism offers isn't ease. It offers solid ground, a foundation that holds, even when everything built on top of it is swaying. The Stoics never promised a life without storms. They promised something more valuable, a self that could withstand them. And in the end, that's the only promise that can actually keep you standing. If this resonated, if you're fighting your own battle right now, hit like to let the algorithm know we're building something real here at MindShift Philosophy. I'll see you in the next one.